today we've got something to be happy about, Mr. Speaker, and that is that of the $286 million that go into the family planning and under Title X, and it's the mission of that, the purpose of those funds is to help plan the number and the spacing of children. And I think that God should be in charge of that, and the more we have, I've long said that the solution for our society is good people need to have a lot of babies and raise them right. And that will bring along, if we get our social agenda right, if we get our faith right, if we get our families right, if we understand the Constitution, if we have a work ethic that's right, if our integrity is there, all the rest will automatically take care of itself. And I see these little babies. I look around in my church, and they're just, our church is just full of little ones. And, you know, a little newborn in front of me just last Sunday, and watching how the family passes that little newborn along. And I see a granddaughter shoot across the aisle to grandparents. Nobody worries. But I don't worry, because those kids there are going to be all right. And this country always takes care of its little ones. There's never been a time where we could have more confidence in taking care of our little ones. But we got to get them born. And we're seeing money borrowed from China to supplement a national debt to go into a Title X family planning program. Abortion is not family planning. Abortion is ending a significant component of the family. And so this program also has statutory prohibition on abortion. So this policy that's unfolding here, thankfully from the Trump administration, will restore the statutory provisions. And Planned Parenthood themselves, you've heard the number, Mr. Speaker, is 56 million, and my math came out to 60 million. It's in that category, and that's used to advocate for abortion and to actually commit abortions. And so, you know, some people aren't moved by the utter immorality. And so I looked at some things that I saw today. I was flying in this morning, and I looked around on the internet and picked up some things. That one of them that caught my eye was that the U.S. birth rate has hit a record low. And now, a record low. And then that means that that record low consists of this. There were only 60.2 babies born per 1,000 women in this past year in 2017. That's the women between the ages of 15 and 44. The fertility years, as the Center for Disease Control describes it, only 60.2. That's the lowest it's ever been since we've been keeping records, and we've been keeping records for decades. Also, the total fertility rate is at a lowest since it's been since 1978, and I think we had an anomaly in 1978. But that total fertility rate, Mr. Speaker, I point out that in order to sustain our population as it is, just a level population, it takes 2.1 babies per woman in order to sustain our population. And our total for that, and that's rated in a total fertility rate, that's 1.764 today, babies per woman, lowest since 1978, and well below, hundreds and hundreds below what it needs to be able to sustain our population. And here's another record that is the lowest in 30 years. Now think of this. The population of the United States of America is as high as it's ever been, about 326 million or more. 326 million people. You would think the higher the population is, the more babies would be born into that population. At least you'd set a record on babies born into the population because our population is as larger than it's ever been. But here's the real data on it. There were 3,853,472 births in 2017. That's the lowest number of births in 30 years. The lowest number of births in 30 years, and we'd also need to add to that, there are roughly 1 million abortions that took place in America in 2017. So if those babies had been born, we would have had 4,853,472 little ones here, rather than the 3.8 million that's in the data that we have. According to this data, 21% of the babies conceived in America's lives are ended by abortion, Mr. Speaker. And I'm seeing an administration that's moving around on the side of life. I'm seeing a society that's moving along on the side of life. I'm watching the 4D ultrasounds where now we can hear the heartbeat and we can watch them move and squirm in the womb. And I'm encouraged that America's society, America's civilization is moving towards the side of life. Eventually, we will see the end of Roe versus Wade, Doe versus Bolton, and Planned Parenthood versus Casey. We will get there, Mr. Speaker, and the work that's done by Mr. Smith and others, and thankfully the President and the administration, get us closer to that day. So I applaud this decision. I thank the gentleman from New Jersey. Now I yield back the balance of my time.